Wow, so my wife found this property right here. I'll give you a better view of it. As you can see, it definitely needs some help. The homeowner needs help. And I knocked on the door and the lady snap open right away. Snap open the door. And I'm like, hey, my name is Phil. I go around the community. I mow people's yards for free, seeing if you'd like some service. And she's like, I absolutely would. I actually watch you on YouTube and I was trying to figure out where you are. I was trying to contact you to ask if you could come and help me. She just started crying, which of course kind of loosened me up a little bit. I'm glad that my wife spotted it. We got this one on the schedule and we're gonna be doing it next week. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said before, my wife saw this property, said you need to go knock on it. We met the homeowner, got her on the schedule, and now today is the day to clean her yard up. Not too crazy of a side yard, as you can see. Backyard is a nightmare. Front yard is going to be the easiest part. Just trim down all these weeds, blow out the beds, trim and mow the grass, clean up the side here. We do have a slope. We have to be careful with our mower. We're going to get to a point where we're just going to have to trim some of the area and blow it all up and then mow the rest up. We're going to expose the curb here a little bit more. We are next to a main road, so sorry in advance for all the speeding cars, and it's a little bit windy. As you can see, we have a side yard, and with corner lots come sidewalks that need to be cleaned up. Making our way into the backyard, we got a lot of tall grass already on this side here. We got some peonies. Those are looking nice. We're gonna keep those. More peonies on the corner. We're gonna clean up this whole area, trim around this dead tree. Moving on to the back, this is where the real challenge begins. So we got this flat area to mow. We got to pick up a bunch of broken limbs. Plenty of work here to do. A bit overwhelming, not gonna lie. We're here to help and do what we can. They were stopping to help me out. No, they have to park there because it's the safest place to park. They're doing a few, I think, commercial jobs over there, so. cleared out this area. What we're gonna do is find all these sticks and throw them right here. Now you're gonna see a sped up version of me bouncing all over, and this pile's gonna grow bigger and bigger. Ready, set. So Melva, first of all, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to do work on your property. Without you, I'm not able to provide the satisfying content to my viewers, and you're a viewer too, and it was so interesting to knock on your door and find that out.
Yeah, it was kind of strange watching you walk up on my up on my sidewalk.
I opened the door and I'm like, would you like a free lawn makeover? I do free lawn makers for the community, and you're like, yes. I watch you. I was trying to find where you're at.
Yeah, this wouldn't have happened without you. I feel very, very blessed having you in my world.
Thank you. Tell me a little bit of a backstory on this property.
It was my mom and dad's, and my mom passed away September 11th of 23.
I'm sorry about your loss.
Thanks, but she had to die on 9/11, When I went out to go to the funeral home, there were people all over on the corner with flags waving, and because of the 9/11 in New York. So it kind of helped me get through the day. But my father is a veteran, and he's my stepfather. He lives at the veterans home now, and this was their home, and I'm here to take care of it.
This landscape amazed me with all of the pottery, and unfortunately we took out the grapevine.
Yeah, it was not going to last
It was ready to go out,
yeah.
But I'm sure your mother loved to take care of her yard, and so did the father.
Yeah, this was her favorite place back here.
Yeah.
There was flowers everywhere. Every layer that you see back here was filled with flowers.
Now, aside from the constant traffic, I'm sure this is a nice, peaceful place to just sit back and relax.
It is. I used to live in the basement, so I never heard it.
Now you get to enjoy the beauty of it. I do want to thank you also for the amazing, do they call these tumblers or mugs? Tumblers. Now, you gave me this one initially, and it just says Phil's Lawn Care on it, and I was blown away. And then halfway through the project, you're like, hey, I need that tumbler back. So she brought me one for the wife. It says proud wife of Phil's Lawn Care. So this one's for the wife. I really do want to say thank you for that.
Having someone like you walk up on my sidewalk was kind of, was a godsend. You are a godsend, period.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
God's timing is perfect.
Yes, he is.
You know?
As a matter of fact, about 4 days before you showed up, I was driving into the driveway looking at the grass, and I'm going, oh man, I wish somebody'd send me someone like
Wow,
Phil.
are you kidding me?
Yeah, and then
And my wife was driving by and she saw this property because I've been busy working across state lines. And so she drives by, she's like, you need to go and knock on the door. I'm like, I will today. And I went and I knocked, and the rest is history.
yeah, and you can tell her I truly appreciate her.
I will. Well, again, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for talking to me, and
Thank you.
we're gonna sign off here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, God bless you, and we'll see you in the next one, and enjoy these before and after pictures.
Yay!
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you.